Preparing.
I'm sorry, was that okay to go ahead?
Yeah, give it another minute or so,
Okay.
Mr. Boyd, if you would.
Yeah, looks like it's still processing. Okay. It's preparing.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first. I'm sorry, was that okay to go ahead?
Yes.
Sorry. And good evening. Welcome to the first board meeting of.
Yeah, give it another minute or so,
Okay.
Mr. Boyd, if you would.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had the okay. I thought I heard the okay.
Okay.
Here, a bunch of okays. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first. I'm sorry, was that okay to go ahead?
Yes.
Sorry. Good evening. Welcome to the first board meeting of.
Yeah, give it another minute or so,
Okay.
Mr. Boyd, if you would.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought. Now, how am I going to avoid hearing that feedback?
Okay.
Here, a bunch of okays. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first. I'm sorry, was that okay to go ahead?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Good evening, welcome to the first
Dennis,
board-
I think it's best if you just turn the YouTube, if you just close the YouTube window on your computer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought. I've got YouTube open. Let me see it.
Okay.
Here, a bunch of okays. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first. Oh, you know what? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought. Testing 1, 2. Have I? All right. Okay. Now you're going to have to give me a minute. I had the agenda open up on my laptop, and that's where the feedback was coming from. 1 second here. I'm sorry, everybody. Testing 1, 2. Have I? All right. Okay. I still have a feedback.
Can you just close the YouTube window?
I don't have a YouTube window open.
Oh,
Does anyone have the YouTube window open whose mic is on?
Yes, and while we're waiting here, it's probably a good time to just remind everybody that if you're not actively speaking, that you should be muted, just to avoid feedback or any accidental transmission.
can you just close the YouTube window?
I don't have a YouTube window open.
Oh,
Does anyone have the YouTube window open whose mic is on?
Oh, geez.
I think you're good to go, Dennis.
All right, let's try this again. All right, I'm sorry for that mix up, everybody. And welcome back to Zoom. And welcome to the first meeting, as I've said a few million times here, of 2022 for the Robla School District. If everybody would stand, we're going to have Trustee Deleuze lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and if just stand, we'll listen instead of avoiding all the.
All right. Okay. Please join me in the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, first I'd like to report the board took action on a issue regarding special education settlement agreement and was approved by a 5-0 vote. That no other actions were taken. And again, my first meeting as president, as Ken Barnes was with Zoom, so please bear with me. I've got the other computer open. I need an adoption for the agenda. The motion for the adoption
So
of the
moved.
agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carries 5-0. And at this time, if anyone in the audience would like to propose, address the board on any non-agenda items which are of interest to the public and within the board's jurisdiction, may do so at this time. The board may not act upon the items presented during the public comment, but may brief, and this is because it has to be posted so many hours in advance. The board, during public comment, may briefly respond to the statement made, ask a clarifying question, or refer to speakers, the district staff, or other resources. Procedure for virtual meeting: to submit a comment in symbol gamut meetings, enter your name and email address. The board assistant will review and provide your comment to the board and enter them into the meeting minutes. To submit a comment on the YouTube, type your comment in live chat, join the live stream of the board meeting. The board president will review and share your comment with the board as appropriate. And with that, we'll give a few minutes to see if there's any comments out there.
Actually, I'm seeing a message on YouTube that says the chat is disabled for this live stream. Is that, who has control over that? Actually, I'm seeing a message on YouTube that says the chat is disabled for this live stream. Is that, who has control over that?
That would be me.
Do you know how to enable that, Shari?
I have sent some chats to some of the staff and they responded. So I don't know that.
In the YouTube, Gerardo?
Oh no, that was part of the Zoom. Just in Zoom. Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about on YouTube.
Got it. I have sent some chats to some of the staff and they responded. So
In the YouTube, Gerardo?
oh no, that was part of the Zoom. Just in Zoom.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about on YouTube.
Got it. I have sent some chats to some of the staff and they.
Someone probably needs to mute their YouTube or mute their mic.
In the YouTube, Gerardo?
Oh no, that was part of the Zoom. Just in Zoom.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about on YouTube.
Got it.
Someone probably needs to mute their YouTube or mute their mic.
Oh no, that was part of the.
Ruben, could
Yes, sir.
you mute yours for just a moment? It looks like everyone's muted, but you and Shari, just to make sure it's not coming from there. It's kind of odd wherever it's coming from. It doesn't make a lot of sense here.
Yeah, it isn't me because mine is muted. My YouTube is,
And I've been muted too.
my YouTube
I
is on.
shut everything off. I mean, I've never had YouTube open.
Okay, Shari, you're still working on it?
Hi, all. This is Elliot. I think I was able to enable chat. Yeah, it looks like it's enabled now. If you refresh, well, if you refresh,
Yes, I just refreshed and it is indeed enabled.
terrific.
Thanks, Elliot.
All right, everyone. So we're going to give you a couple more minutes now if you do have a question out there to present to the board. And it looks like our 15-minute head start that we were going to do tonight just got eradicated. But we're on time for 6:30.
I'm not seeing anything in the chat, Mr. Boyd.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so that brings us to reports. Is there anybody from Robla Education Foundation, or does anybody receive anything from? Okay. Rob, what teacher, RTA?
Actually, Dennis, I received a message from John that said if he's given the Zoom link, apparently he doesn't have the Zoom link, but if you would like John Revan to give a report, someone needs to give him the Zoom link.
Oh, okay, well, we're a little bit late on that, so I'm just gonna say there's no report.
Yes, yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay, that's okay, that's no problem, Ken. You know, I mean, again, we're just starting back to Zoom again, so we're working through the trials and errors. So RTA, anybody from RTA? CSEA? The superintendent's report.
Okay, and I do have a report. I will, first of all, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here and thank you for bearing with us as we work to reinstate our ability in this Zoom world, as we have now gone virtual with our board meetings. Of course, I'm going to start with COVID, an update on COVID. I think it's really important to keep our community informed about what's happening with that. We did have a COVID vaccine clinic on Saturday at Taylor Street School. That was sponsored by the California Department of Public Health. And I'm very excited to say that we administered 153 vaccines on that day. Not everything went as smoothly as we would have hoped on that day, and we did learn some lessons, but we are pleased that that many people from our community were able to get were able to get vaccines done. We continue with weekly testing in the Robla School District. So we are testing at no cost all students and staff who sign up. And we've been testing about 800 people a week, and we've really been pushing because of Omicron to get more people to sign up. And we had about 150 new people sign up last week. So our community is responding to that. And of course, the more people who are being tested in our system, the more we are on top of how COVID is happening in our schools. So I think that that's very good news. Robla did receive an allocation from the state of California that was passed through the Sacramento County Office of Education to distribute to our families COVID home test kits. And we made those available last week to our families with a second chance giveaway this last Tuesday. And anybody who wanted them was able to come and pick them up. And I think that that's really great that we've put them in our families' hands. We now have a supply of tests at each of our schools as well as the district office, should the case come up where someone needs, one of our students or one of our staff members should need a home test. That's outside of the window of the regular testing that we do. Increased testing means, of course, that we're going to see an increase in the positive cases. That's inevitable. I will say that last week, the number of positive cases that were determined through testing was 51. That's both staff and students. Out of about 800, which is about 6% would be our positivity rate. So that number is definitely up, and we're hoping, of course, that COVID will peak, this Omicron will peak soon, and we'll be able to see that number come down. Right now, one of the big issues that we're facing in the Robla School District is coverage for employees who are either positive or are on quarantine. So covering those have been a real dilemma for our site administrators and for our department heads. Everyone is working very hard to make sure that all of our students have a teacher, that schools are getting cleaned, that food is getting cooked, that buses are getting to their stops, and everybody's pitching in where they can. And we are doing our best. So I just really want to acknowledge that everybody's working so hard to make sure that everything is covered in the Robla School District. I did have the opportunity both last week and this week to be on a Zoom call with Dr. Cassirier, our public health doctor here in the county of Sacramento. And she had a variety of things that to tell us, just to keep us updated. But I think one of the very strong messages that she gave is that it is every message that she's getting is that it is being made very clear that schools will stay open in the state of California, that the governor's office very much sees that as a very high priority. And that is a priority because what we learned from COVID in the beginning was that students are safer and better off when they are at school. And so because of mental health reasons, because of socialization reasons, because of reasons that children need to be fed and they have access to food at school, as well as our procedures that work to keep them safe and testing and things like that. We should not be thinking that our schools will be closing at any point. I'm also on a weekly call with the county superintendents, and I would just say that the other 13 districts in the county are experiencing many of the same issues that we are. Actually, Robla is doing much better than a lot of other places, so we have a lot to be proud of. We're keeping our machine moving during this particularly difficult part of the COVID outbreak. So, lots of thanks to everyone in terms of all the work that they're doing, but I think it's especially important to acknowledge tonight our nurses, Michelle Penman and Jennifer Melvin, who really are in the thick of it in terms of contact tracing and speaking with families and directing everyone as to what the appropriate response is in any particular situation with our students. And to acknowledge Nicole Sullivan, our Chief of Human Resources, who does all of that work with our employees. And they really do work to stay on top of what the law says and what the guidelines are and what the appropriate response is in any particular situation. So we're particularly grateful to them. And then just again, we are virtual tonight. That is due to an order that was put forth by the Sacramento County Office of Public Health that public meetings shall become virtual starting last week, and that this will last as long as the directive says. Currently, we are told it will be revisited in February. I did want to mention tonight that we will be launching very soon a staff survey that will probably go out tomorrow. This survey is a product of the labor management collaboration that happens with our association presidents. Mr. Barnes represents the board in that group. And there's a strong desire amongst this group to check on our employees and identify areas where people may need some more support. And so we created a survey thanks to the support that we got from Kelly Pemberton, our program specialist, for helping us find the right wording to create this survey. And then we will analyze and collaborate on the results of the survey and determine what the appropriate responses are to the information that we get from our employees. And then finally tonight, I just want to mention our Black History Month Parent Empowerment Dinner that is scheduled to take place on February 23rd. We have moved the event outdoors under a tent at the district office, much as we did with our Latino Parent Empowerment Dinner in September. Shari is working on ordering the tents and the tables and the heaters if we need them, so that we can enjoy each other's company that night. Families will be invited through a personal invitation. Our speaker for this dinner will be Chancellor May from UC Davis. We're very excited to have him be part of our evening. And there will be music and there will be student artwork on display. So I hope everybody marks their calendar for that event. And that is my report.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to unmute. Appreciate it. I see Mr. Revin has shown back up. So, Mr. Revin, would you have anything to present about the Robla Foundation, Education Foundation?
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be able to join in for a change. Nothing much has been going on with the foundation from the standpoint that nothing has really returned to normal or even a facsimile thereof. Haven't had any requests from any of the teachers, the classrooms, and so forth. We did make our annual donation to the Strings Project, which I'm pleased to see. We really have had a great turnout for that this year. And in fact, there's another flyer or something that I just happened to see the other day that Cindy's going to be sending out, encouraging our students to return come February when the project resumes. We also recently received a nice donation from PayPal of a little more than $400, which was quite a surprise for us. So with that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you for allowing me to participate.
Thank you, Mr. Reverend, and congratulations on your cataract operation. Hope you can see us a lot better now.
Yes, I can. I just got to get out of the habit of wearing the glasses when I'm driving and things like that. I actually only need to wear them when I'm reading close up. Otherwise, everything is really nice, crystal clear, and I'm enjoying it.
Very good, very good. All right, that brings us to board member reports. Trustee Devine.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Trustee Cardona.
I had the opportunity around Christmas to be available to deliver a basket for our family members in Robla. And it was a real nice experience and very happy people over there. And I'm glad that I was included on it. And that's all for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for helping out there too. Trustee Barnes.
Well, I was going to talk about the satisfaction survey, but Superintendent Reyes did a fantastic job talking about that. So I don't have much to report, with the exception of I did find out when in our labor management meeting that our nurses are doing a real bang up job, and Superintendent Reyes talked about this, but I didn't know that one site had assessed over 100 independent studies students, short-term independent study students, which is way above the norm. So I just want to thank everyone, especially our nurses, but everyone else involved in that for all the hard work that they are doing. So very, very much thank you. We appreciate it. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. And Trustee DeLuz.
Nothing to report.
Okay. I've got a little bit here. First of all, it seems like ages ago now that I don't think we've had a meeting since I attended the Strings concert. And as usual, it was such a pleasure to see these students. And I really got to commend them because it was like starting all over again. The staff over at Sac State was so pleased that we got it again. It was with their help that we've got this up and rolling again. It was really a thrill to be back there. I tell you, I had a little, not a concern, I just wondered about the packed auditorium there. And this is before we really knew about Omicron. So I hope everything turned out well there. And I did my second week of joining Bell Avenue for the COVID testing. I had done it occasionally myself behind Arden Fair, but I wasn't going to do it. And I thought it's just a great way to visit the schools now. And I like, the first week there, I happened to run into my good friend, Mrs. Dadigan, had a nice conversation with her. And then this week, I was really just pleased to see how Mrs. Ruby and our students are so well behaved and just going through this. They really should be commended for all they're doing and just the way they act. I also stopped by the Taylor Clinic and was pleased to see so many people there. I don't know what the glitches were The only thing that I saw is the fact that they were only able to administer 2 shots at a time and then wait the 15 minutes created quite a long line for people to wait. And that it was too bad because they certainly were concerned about getting those shots. I did watch the entire Sammy circuit last night online. It was fun. I admit that I didn't do the exercises. And the guy is such a motivator. I don't know how many people he had out there, but I'm sure it wasn't as many as when I've attended in person in the past, where I think the parents were more enthused about doing the exercises than the kids themselves, or equally as enthused. There was a lot of comments on there, and I think every Robla school was notified or acknowledged by Mr. Sammy Circuit. I do have a question, 2 questions here for the superintendent. Of all the test kits that were available, did we pass them all out or not?
We did not pass them all out. We made them available at each school site during a specified pickup time. And then we had what we called a second chance pickup time at the district office on Tuesday. So all the pickup times at the schools were last week. And then we gave a second pickup time at the school district on Tuesday. We really pushed with families. We were happy to tell them that we had these kits, but we said the best thing to do is actually to get tested with our testing program, which is at no cost and very convenient because your child can do that every week at school. So we had lots of tests left, and we have now distributed them to the school sites. So the nurses will be distributing those to families as they need them.
Okay, thank you. And the other question I have is I have on the calendar that we're going to do a ribbon cutting at Bell Avenue tomorrow. I'm assuming that's not going to take place because of the isolation now, or?
Yeah, there is no event tomorrow. That is correct.
All right. And that's all I have. That brings us to presentations and information. And I have school SPSA updates for Robla and Taylor. And I see Miss Gerard out there. Do we want to ask her to go first, or Mr. Reyes, do you want to do the?
I guess I would first ask Miss Lyon, who I think is on the call. Cindy, were you going to say anything before we started?
Hello, everybody. Hello. This is the final 2 school sites to give an update on their SIPSAs for this school year, the 21-22, 2022, because it feels like 2020. So yeah, these are our last 2 updates, and they did give you some notes in terms of what they were going to talk about as requested by Trustee Barnes last time. So those should be in the board packet there for you, as well as the notes from the previous presentations.
Okay. And who's first?
Vanessa, would you like to go ahead and go first? I see you're on mic, so.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, President Boyd, members of the board, Superintendent Reyes, and Ms. Malspine. It's a pleasure to be here to let you know what's going on in Taylor mid-year and to give you an update on the SIPSA. I'll start by saying that I am so proud of Taylor's staff. The unpredictability of this year and the cumulative effect of all the COVID precautions and concerns have really taken a toll on folks, but everybody is showing up as much as they possibly can. And when they show up, they give it their all. And I'm just really pleased to be able to report to you about the dedicated staff that we have. Our focus going into this year was on reading. We have heard nationwide reports about kids and their troubles with reading and falling behind in state standards, et cetera. And so we have definitely maintained that focus. We are, of course, tending to other subject areas, and I'll talk about those in a moment. But our focus is on both supporting kids with their current grade level standards, while also reaching back and making sure that they have all the skills necessary to proceed on and be effective with additional grade level standards. We originally talked as a leadership team and then staff about using some of our Title I money to work with SCOE in professional development effort around reading. Taylor had done this in the past prior to my coming, and they liked it very much and felt like it was effective. When I approached SCOE about that, apparently the COVID demand was pent up even for PD, and they said that they would not be able to take us this year in that effort. And so I pivoted and we did professional development that was homegrown. And I'll talk about that for just a moment, but I can't even tell you how wonderful that little misstep was, because I think if we had tried to undertake that kind of formal professional development effort, which also included the use of substitutes, which would have been problematic, I think it would have just been too much for our staff. Instead, we have focused on reading by looking at our own assessments and looking at the use of small groups to help students to fill in some of the standards that they have missed. And so we've been making good use of our staff meetings and PLCs to really talk about that reading data. And in addition, our PLST, John Byram, and several other teachers have shared around what to do during those groups, because it's not enough, of course, just to put kids in small groups, but what you're doing in those small groups is really important. So we've been spending our time doing that, making use of the expertise right at Taylor, and really digging into what it takes to be a professional learning community in trying to improve efforts, looking at data, and then making changes based on the data. The kind of tricky part of this, and I know you all have heard this, is balancing the grade level curriculum that they need to learn now and the skills that they maybe did not get during distance learning. So we have this quandary between making sure that students have full access to their grade level standards, but also need time to go back and support them in past standards. And that's something that we're constantly talking about, and teachers are sharing approaches to how they're doing that. We are definitely maintaining a focus on grade level standards, though. In math, we're really looking at building foundations. We are noticing basic things like number sense, and in the younger grades, things like counting and skip counting, students are not able to do to the levels that we would like them to. So we as a staff are looking at the foundational skills in math and also building kids' stamina. As we know, the Common Core math is all about really using your problem-solving skills and not to just computation. And so sometimes kids want to go straight to the computation, and we're working with them on that. Our English learners remain a focus at Taylor. We're looking at the LPAC scores that we were able to get. We have some newcomers. We have some refugees from Afghanistan, as well as some other newcomers from other parts of the world that our ELD teacher is supporting us with, not only through pullouts because they really are newcomers, but also helping the teachers work with these newcomers in their classroom. So instructionally, I feel like we're really keeping the bar high at Taylor while still making sure that our kids get what they need so that they can move on successfully. Insofar as school climate, which is a big piece of the SIPSA plan, we've really focused on getting a coherent systemic MTSS system going at Taylor. So we've been viewing everything through the MTSS framework, looking at our tier 1 supports primarily. I know many of you are familiar with Taylor has some behavior challenges, and we are working hard to meet kids' social emotional learning needs, as well as implementing positive behavior supports so that they feel supported and safe at school. we have seen some more challenging behaviors as a result of, or what we assume it's as a result of COVID, but as students have come back. I don't have the longevity there to say that, but as I talk with my staff, they've shared that. So we have the wonderful privilege of having a SCOE mental health worker in addition to our Robla social worker, and we are putting those two professionals to work 24/7 in supporting Taylor students. In tier 2, we're really looking at once kids are needing some extra support, are we really making sure that that system is aligned with what they're doing in the classroom? So if we're adding additional supports, is it able to be supported and practiced in the classroom, and making sure that we're monitoring students. So yes, we might get them some extra support, but being sure that we have a calendar in place to come back after 4 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever the team has determined, to be sure that we're keeping up with those students and not letting anything fall between the cracks. And finally, for our special ed students, I have a marvelous special ed team, and we're working on coherence so that students who receive multiple services, as well as students who may not already qualify for an IEP, but who could use similar services, are able to share in that and get what they need. I'm very, very proud of special ed team at Taylor, and I expect really good things to come out of it. Attendance has been an ongoing issue in our school climate scenario. We have been engaged with a SCOE professional learning community around attendance and student engagement. As a matter of fact, our final session was today from 3 to 5. They are working in an improvement science framework. So we took some quick change ideas and we're ready to implement them now around finding out how we can grow student engagement with Taylor. We recognize that attendance incentives are one part of the equation, but we also have to build kids' engagement with school so that they're wanting to come and pushing their parents to get them there, for that matter. Right now, we have a pretty high, actually, I shouldn't say right now, August through November, Taylor has a chronic absenteeism rate of about 29%, super high. So we are really looking to address this, because if kids aren't at school, we know that they're not learning everything that they can be learning. Parent engagement continues to be a focus for us, and we look forward to using the Black History Month Parent Empowerment Dinner to be connecting with more folks. It's been really difficult during distance learning, and now in not necessarily having parents freely about on campus. As a new principal, trying to connect online has been more difficult, and through telephone. But I think we're making good progress. We have several parents who have expressed interest in working to help govern in school site council. And so I hope to really bring that council up to speed. We're not quite there yet. And we're also using every occasion we can to reach out to parents. So we did a virtual Christmas program that turned out just lovely, and we were able to actually post it on YouTube so parents could access it. We also publicized Sammy Circuit Night last night so that everybody could enjoy that. And we're impressing upon families the need for attendance, as well as our resources available for mental health supports. So we're using all these as ways to communicate with our parents and build those relationships. So in conclusion, I'm here to say we are going to make it through this year and do it with good attitudes. It's hard out there. The coverage system is real. I've been doing quite a bit of teaching this week, which I love a lot. But then my principal duties are there still waiting for me. So everybody's doing double duty. And we thank you for acknowledging that and for your appreciation. I'll close now in case you have any comments or questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the board?
I just wanted to say thank you to you and your entire staff for putting in the extra work to help the students try to catch up and make sure that they're where they need to be. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank you for all you're doing too. And I know it's equally tough it's got to be tough to just come into school the first year, but under these circumstances, but I visited you over there a couple of times, and I'm pleased with what I'm seeing with the school. And in the past, I know that Taylor has had a good core of parent participation. I would understand the reluctance of getting back in there right now, but I think you're going to find a good core to help you out there. Really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Lyon, do you want to introduce Mr. Cow?
Sure, yes. Mr. Darren Caff is our new principal at Robla School, and they have the privilege of moving into their rest of their building over the break. And Mr. Caff is going to share with you what he's doing and the movements he's making over there at Robla.
We're not getting you. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yeah, we got it
Okay.
now.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say thank you, Cindy, and then thank Vanessa. That was a terrific job. Thank you, Superintendent Reyes, ladies and gentlemen of the board, for this opportunity to share with you the progress towards our goals that our schools made so far this school year. The purpose of this report is to connect you with how hard our teachers and staff are working to fit the needs of our students. The first area I want to share with you about is our school climate. Our students and staff are very thankful for the many years of Mr. Penman's leadership. He left our school with a legacy, a sense of urgency for excellence in the area of academics. We understand that our school climate is the underlying foundation for all of our academic goals. Each and every staff member is working hard to develop our spirit of collaboration, communication, and enthusiasm. We can share our philosophy of the 4 Rs with our students and the Robla community. With guidance from our school climate coordinator, Linda Gessner, we have an ongoing class competition for character development and following our 4 Rs. We continue to recognize individual students for making academic achievements in the classroom and also great choices with their behavior. This year, we also have a staff recognition for classified and certificated employees of the month. Staff are chosen by their peers to be recognized for their exemplary work ethic. These concepts and actions contribute to our staff feeling seen for the amazing work they do each and every day. And it makes us thankful to have this opportunity to work together in such a challenging and demanding times. Our major focus, similar to Ms. Gerard, is in reading. So we focused much of our professional learning community time this year on gathering data, sharing it, and then collaborating on how to use the data to fit the needs of our students. These needs have been addressed in the classroom by small group focused instruction, push-in instruction with our intervention teacher, and extended day for our primary students. Our intervention teacher, Karen Cook, has been strategically pushing into the classroom and has organized pull-out groups using scientifically based instructional strategies with the support of our instructional assistants. Another key contributor to our classrooms has been the addition of Ms. Lena Tran, our PLST, who's been visiting classrooms, meeting with teachers during PLC time, assessing needs, and then also modeling great teaching and facilitating source strategies and covering classes so teachers can observe other excellent teaching. We're also excited to be planning for 1st through 6th grade win time, where students will be grouped across grade levels according to their specific needs. We're currently building a Google Sheet to help us be transparent and accountable for our specific goals in the areas like phonics, reading fluency, and reading comprehension. This summer, with your much appreciated support, we trained 11 teachers in GLAD, Guided Language Acquisition Design. These learned strategies help our teachers bring grade level rigorous content comprehensible for all learners. Lastly, to help guide instruction, I've been visiting classrooms, giving feedback and discussing specific data through the PLC notes. We know as a team that educators in all grade levels, we've never served students with such distinct varying levels in areas of writing and reading. So we know we must build all of us capacity to grow to fit the needs of these students. In the area of math, our staff has been diligent in assessing student needs in math through district assessments and topic tests. There are big gaps in the foundational skills like Vanessa talked about in the primary grades, and math facts and stamina with problem solving in the intermediate grades. Teachers have been making these challenges a priority during their site grade level PLC time. Teachers are consciously working on less problems and going into greater depth on the problems they do cover using oral and written disciplinary communication. We also have 2 teachers participating in the P3CC math assessment collaboration. This training allows teachers to recognize strengths in the students, helping root students in the context of a problem to a deeper level, and also give students opportunities to explore math with more hands-on activities. These assessments also give teachers a better understanding of how students are thinking and solving math problems with big gaps. An area I'm really excited about is our ELD students and program. Brittany Freer has done an outstanding job assessing students and supporting teachers teaching designated ELD so far this year. We are meeting currently finalizing our WIN program that will start January 24th, and working on the procedures and goals where every student, if you come to Robla School from 8:45 to 9:15, all students will get what they need, and from the priority being the EL students, and then all the EO students will get specific learning that meets their needs from looking at the data and reflecting the reflection of our teaching practices. In the area of parent involvement, our coordinator, school climate, and office staff have collaborated to send home newsletters, keeping families up to date and with the happenings of Robla. We've sent home multiple messages using School Messenger and the Remind app, helping to engage the community. We had a virtual back to school night, which was well attended. We had a regular Halloween parade that was very well attended. We had our virtual parent conferences that were also highly attended. And then in collaboration with the Sacramento Library, we had a virtual Joy of Reading night for families. Those families in attendance were awarded books and prizes. And we also want to say we just really look forward to the other side of the pandemic, having our spring carnival that's always a big hit, and also having families attend our play, The Jungle Book. The last thing I wanted to kind of mention about is building capacity. The central theme of our school this year is us as a staff growing and meeting the needs of every student and the community. Mr. Reyes enrolled me in this SCOE leadership program, and I attended a session on equity and excellence in Title I schools. This has given me much needed insight into specific strategies that research has shown to be successful at other schools like ours. I also participated in the SCOE EL Rise seminar, working with other administrators, taking a deeper look at the EL roadmap. Leading by example is a characteristic that I feel is necessary as a rookie principal, and I am a rookie. Overall, our staff is experiencing loss and growth under new leadership. Please know that with 12 people going above and beyond by attending workshops, we have new strategies and enthusiasm to offer our students this year. That, coupled with the Robla District's focus and reflection on data, gives us a strong foundation to fill the dynamic needs of our students. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight and for your continued support. That concludes my report.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Cash?
No questions, but I wanted to say thank you. And I am very sure that Robla Elementary is in good hands.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I got to make sure I'm muted when I'm thanking you. Thank you, Ruben, for stepping in. And thank you for that report again. I was saying that good thorough report. Is there any other questions from the board or comments? No, I'd just like to say, as Ms. Gerard, you're a new principal and I understand the challenge you have. You may have one up being as a member of the Robla family for some time, but at the same time, I realize that can also have a negative side to it as people know you. I really appreciate both of you, what you're coming in and doing for our Robla family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Thank you.
Okay. With that, the next, I'm sorry, give me a moment here. I'm sorry, presentation from Robla New Hope Charter School, Mr. Pagani.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, trustees. Good evening, Superintendent Reyes, and to all of our staff. Thank you for allowing me to be here to give you an update. And my next visit, I'll give you a much more thorough insight into who our students are and their progress thus far academically. But I do have some things that I'd like to update you on tonight. And so I'm going to share my screen and share my presentation. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So as always, I always start with the collaboration and the relational trust that we've been building together between Robla School District and New Hope Charter School. Almost 3 years now, we've been working on this. Excuse me. So we passed that along to our students as well, the importance of them working together, collaborating, building trust with one another. This is one of our math classrooms. And I just want to step back though and just acknowledge, as Superintendent Reyes mentioned, we have been dealing with a lot of challenges with COVID, being a small school. When we have a couple of people out, it impacts us in a very powerful way. And so I just want to acknowledge the partnership that we have with the district and the work everybody at the district. In particular, Mrs. Sullivan, we've consulted with her numerous times as we've been really just formulating the plan and also just supporting our teachers, staff, students, and families through this whole process. And we also are grateful for being able to participate in the weekly testing at Glenwood Elementary, as well as being able to receive the rapid tests for our families as well. And we sure are putting all those resources to use, let me tell you. So, but I just wanted to acknowledge that again, that this partnership has just been a wonderful gift to our students and families. That's the most important beneficiaries of this work that we've done collectively. And so I'll start oftentimes, and now you'll see me talking less about facility after this presentation tonight, and more so talking more about our students, which is where the focus should be, and our teachers. So, but I just want to acknowledge that, Trustee Barnes mentioned the tractors and the heavy machinery and so forth. I'm glad to say that we don't have any of those on the New Hope site, and where we once had that park that wasn't such a pretty feature of the community. We now have an actual school facility, and we have our banner up acknowledging that this is the New Hope Charter School location now. And we are up and running with our 6 classrooms, And those are to the left of that entrance there, but also to the right, because we have space in 3 of our classrooms. We're again partnering with Robla School District to provide space for 3 Glenwood Elementary classrooms on that same campus as well. And we can talk more about that in the future, but just want to again acknowledge the partnership work that we've done with the district to make this a reality. So let's look a little deeper into the classroom. This is one of our classrooms. This is one of our Spanish classrooms, actually. And we really have an emphasis not only in the academics, but also on art. And you see that reflected in this classroom. And it's just, like I said, it's been a long time coming, but we are able to walk into classrooms and see students at work, teachers at work, and students learning and growing each day. We have a lot of work to do, as I'll share with you at my next report, just where our students are coming from, as Mr. Caff and Ms. Gerard acknowledged at their school sites. We have work to do. We have a lot of gaps from the learning loss during the learning that we did online, both the last year and a half, as well as even in this current year. So we are working extremely hard, but also being as smart as possible, using strategies around data to inform our instructional practices and the work that we're doing with students. So we are, definitely in the midst of the COVID battle, but I still hope that very soon that we can have our trustees, our district folks continue to come and visit our school site. And I think you will be very pleased with not only just the way the facility, the classrooms in particular look, but just what's happening more importantly in the classrooms. And then in terms of a quick update on student enrollment and attendance, we're holding steady. We have 137 students enrolled, and we are holding at about 96% average daily attendance. But we also want to acknowledge that we are continuing our efforts now to add students. We've had a couple of students come back to us who had left because we didn't have our facility ready earlier in the year. And so that's great news. But also, it's January, so for us, that means it's time for student recruitment for next year's crop of 7th graders. So I'll be making my visits to the elementary campuses like I did last year with our team. And also, I'm again excited that now we can actually have, when appropriate, when it's safe and in the appropriate way, have students, prospective students and families come visit our school site and actually observe what's happening, the learning in our classrooms. This is the schedule that we follow. Speaking of the learning, this is our New Hope Charter School bell schedule. And as you can see, we start a little bit later. We start at 8:30 every morning, just to offset so we don't have a lot of traffic at the same time as Glenwood Elementary when they start up. And that means we go a little bit later each day as well. So we start at 8:30 and then we go until 3:15 p.m. And then Thursdays are on the right side, the right column here, are our early dismissal. But what we do with that time is we have an extended advisory. Advisory is where we do a lot of grade checks, checking in with students one-to-one. A lot of social emotional learning happens there as well. And at the same time, we also use Thursdays as an opportunity for all of our students to have access to enrichment. And that means art, that means piano, guitar, violin, and dance. And so we do that every Thursday to balance out what we're doing academically with our students, because we have to make sure that we keep our students, give all of them an opportunity, I should say, in terms of equity to experience the arts. Also, what we're doing is every day after school, we have, except Thursday, it's almost a daily thing, but 3:30 to 5. So we have this longer day, and we're using that to provide more academic tutoring and more access to arts for students as well. So it's a long day, but at the same time, it is something that we try to utilize in a very thoughtful way to very specifically meet the needs of each of our students. I also want to just acknowledge that a little bit about our students. We have about 50% of our students are English learners. So our ELD program is very important in that both the integrated and designated English language development times, but also we have almost 20% of our students have an individualized education program. So they are in the special education program. So we have students who bring a great deal of diversity in their academic learning, in their learning needs. And so it calls for us to really be thoughtful and spend more time in really trying to meet those needs. And so I will pause here and open it up for questions and any discussion or comments.
I do not know why I got so excited seeing pictures of kids in your classrooms. It was a wonderful thing to see. I am very, very excited for the future of New Hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have a question. I just want to make a comment. I was looking at that art and on the wall, and it's, I just want to make the comment. It's nice to see that that the person on the wall, the woman with the hair, is a person of color, because that's something that often gets overlooked. And if people can't see themselves in art and things like that, then it affects them. So I just want to say kudos for that, because growing up, that was one thing I always looked for: people who looked like me or art that looked like me, and it was kind of hard to find. So thank you very much for attention to detail like that.
Is the art piece of Frida?
Yes, it is, Trustee
Okay.
Divine. You got it. That's Frida Kahlo.
I didn't make that connection. Thank you.
Yeah, and I will pass along. Thank you, Trustee Barnes. I will pass along the kudos to our art teacher, as well as to our entire staff, who are very, very focused on acknowledging and really highlighting the art from as many different cultures that our students represent.
Thank you, Trustee Barnes. Are there any other comments from the board? I'd just like to say, first of all, I'm really impressed with that academic schedule you have there. Again, as Trustee Devine was talking about how exciting it is to see these classrooms, it is exciting to see it actually taking place and offering so much of what we wanted to offer for so many years. Really do appreciate that. And I'd just like to say, I happened to be driving by the night of the open house, the day before they actually started. So of course I had to go in and visit, which was like walking on seventh heaven again, just seeing that ready to take place. I did get to talk at length at one of the new teachers. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. I wasn't prepared to take notes or anything. So a young woman from the Bay Area, she said you recruited her hard. She talked quite a bit, and she just sounds so enthused about being in this class. And I really appreciate it. Shows the dedication you're putting in to recruit the best that you can get there. And I really do appreciate that. And I just, you're probably going to do it, but as you recruit for next year's class, I hope you might put a sign out on the fence along the New Hope Charter School to say you're recruiting to reach a community.
That's correct, Trustee Boyd. Thank you again for that acknowledgement, but also we will have banners at the facility, but also we'll work with our folks at the district around our website, and really just to be ahead of the game this year, to make sure that we have that information going out to parents in a variety of ways, in whatever way we can do to reach every single family in Robla.
Yeah, we've got a real foundation to work on, and not some virtual idea. That's just great.
Yes.
Well, thanks again. Thank you so much.
I just want to make one more real quick comment, because I think you nailed it, Trustee Boyd, when you talked about, this is a long time coming. And, I got to say, I'm really proud of the work that the board has done, this board and previous boards, to get us to this point. I know that we still have a long way to go, and, we're always working to improve ourselves and make our district better. But I got to say, I am really happy with the path that we're on and the work that we've done. And so I'm glad that we're going down this path. I'm glad for this partnership and all the other work that we've done. So I just wanted to put that in and say thank you and good job.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Thank you. I just want to take a moment here before I go to the next one. Sorry I missed this on our reports, but I did get to attend the parent collaborative of the preschool yesterday, at the invitation of Mrs. Earhart. I didn't get to stay for the whole thing, but I was able to, I did appreciate attending in and see the enthusiasm of the parents in that. So again, thank you. All right, that brings us to the facilities update. Mr. Flores, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. Nice to see everyone again. Fortunately, we're back in our virtual worlds. And so I apologize ahead of time if my dog barks, but we'll try to capture him as quickly as possible. Let me pull this one on my side. So thank you, President Boyd, and members of the board and Superintendent Reyes. We'll give you a brief update of where we are with facilities. I think the headline here is we have students in classrooms at Bell, Robla, and Glenwood. First off, I'd like to thank everybody who was involved, staff, principals, district staff. We hadn't originally planned to have 3 school facilities opening all within the same week. But we were able to get folks in there and to move on with the projects. Firstly, over at Robla, we have occupied the general purpose classroom building, building B, which is along Claire, as well as the kindergarten complex that's adjacent to the NPR. We continue to work on the site. Right now, we've been able to occupy the main part of the facility. Pursuant to the board's action earlier last year, we continue to work on replacing the asphalt playgrounds on the site. And we're looking to put down the asphalt sometime next week. After that, there'll be some time for any secure. We'll then need to proceed with striping, coordinate with site staff for that striping, basketball courts, foursquare courts, things of that nature. And we hope to have the children being able to use the site, the new play surfaces in early February is our general timeline. We were hoping to get that done over winter break. However, as most of us experienced, we had a combination of a very wet winter break that combined with very cold temperatures. So once the rain stopped, there's actually variances in which we're able to pour asphalt, and it was simply too cold for us to set the asphalt at the time. So we're continuing to work on that. We're conducting a punch list walk tomorrow with the contractor and architect, basically looking for any damage that was made during move-in, and then trying to go around and identify any issues we have with everything from door seals, roof panels, things of that nature. And we'll be on site doing that tomorrow. Mr. Boyd had mentioned a ribbon cutting. Originally, we had planned for a ribbon cutting at Robla on January 14th. We moved that date out to February 4th. Obviously, we'll have ongoing discussions about our ability to conduct that on that date, given that the recent surge in COVID. We do plan on having that event outdoors, but that's something that we'll continue to evaluate with district staff in terms of the feasibility of having that on the 4th. So tentatively, for those who are interested, we will be having ribbon cutting currently planned on the 4th over at Robla. In addition, at Robla right now, which is unrelated to this construction, but is happening in parallel, is that the district has moved forward with a re-roofing project over at the NPR building. So you may have seen a number of folks up on the roof repairing, patching, and replacing the roof on the NPR. Although not part of this particular project, that is something that the district has undertaken, and we anticipate them finishing that up sometime next week. Bell Avenue, similar situation where that the admin and students have moved into the new building, vacating the old campus in order to move forward with modernization. We have moved into the phase of looking at the overall modernization effort. We'll begin with demolition over on the east side of campus, where we had the kindergarten classrooms to be installed, modular buildings, and going forward. Over there at Bell Avenue, one of the things that continues to be an item of interest is the covered walkways. We're working with the contractor. We originally budgeted to repair the covered walkways, but given the deterioration in the last 18 months or so of those covered walkways, we're exploring options to replace them, and we'll come back to the board with that particular element. The other thing that has occurred over at Bell is that we had some water intrusion in the elevator shaft. It shorted out the motherboard that controls the elevator. So currently the elevator is not in service. We should get that part next week and be able to move forward with putting that into operation. At Glenwood, we occupied our modular kindergarten building. You can see there we have students on campus. We continue to, like Robla, we continue to monitor conditions that would allow us to lay down the asphalt for the bus drop-off, visitor parking, and main entrance. We were able to facilitate accessibility to the front part of campus. So parents, students, visitors can once again access the school site from the front of campus using the west side parking lot off of Inglewood. And so we're able to create that path of travel. There are two areas in which remain under construction, which is the front bus drop-off area, as well as the surrounding asphalt between the campus and the new kindergarten building. Once again, we're trying to target a paving date for those as well, and making sure that A, the soils dry out enough for us to lay the asphalt, and then B, that weather is warm enough for us to do that. We have commenced with modernization of buildings A and B. I believe it's classrooms 1 through 8 over at the campus. We started with demolition and are moving forward with the installation of 21st century classrooms in those buildings. We hope to have that modernization of those first 2 buildings completed by spring break in April, at which time we'll move over to classrooms 9 through 12, and as well as the northern part of the campus, all the buildings except for the library media center. And those will be under construction through the rest of the year and into summer break. And then during summer break, we will be focusing on the library media center. We'll be reconfiguring the old kindergarten classroom as the art room, and working on improvements to the administrative offices as well.
Emilio?
Yes.
Going back to Bell Avenue, you said that there was you were replacing a motherboard in the elevator.
Yes.
Due to some flood damage. Is that something that we have to worry about whenever we get a good rain, or is that something that's kind of a fluke thing or so? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So what occurred is that the controls for the elevator are located underneath the second-story threshold into the elevator shaft. So what had occurred is water had intruded from the second story, had gone down the part of the shaft and into the control box. We've done 2 things. One is we've created a threshold, a greater threshold, so that any water that does come actually is driven away from that control box area. And the second thing that we're exploring right now with the elevator manufacturer is if we can relocate that box to a wall that does not have an opening. So instead of it being right below the threshold where the door opens, could we put it on one of the sides of the wall, one of the other sides, in order to prevent any water from getting into that? So it's something that we're looking at as it seems to be a fluke condition that occurred. But with that said, we're trying to find ways to mitigate that fluke from ever happening again. So one is to create a bigger threshold so that the water misses the control box altogether if it has to stay there. But ultimately, what we would like to do is move that control box to another wall within the shaft, so that if water gets in there, it's on an immediate path of any future water intrusion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Looking ahead, as I mentioned, we have a ribbon cutting scheduled for the 4th. We'll keep the board and the public apprised of our schedule going forward with that. We do have the modernization that's happening over at Bell Avenue, and then once again over at Glenwood. As we move out of that kindergarten area and we're able to open up the bus drop-off hopefully later this month. We will then be full swing into modernization over there as well. One of the things that is not on this presentation, and just for the board's information, is that the district has been approached by a developer in the area as it pertains to the Panhandle development off of Del Paso. So for those of you who are from the area, maybe familiar, this is that strip of land just the east of Natomas Charter School. That particular parcel, the bottom half of it, it lays in the Robla Elementary School District. The northern portion is in Twin Rivers. There is a school site that was required to be placed in that southern portion, elementary school site, within that development. And the developers come and started asking the school district, what are the plans for that particular school site? And so at this point in time, we're just starting dialogues with the developer regarding that. There's a number of factors that would go into developing a school site. The demand for enrollment. So making sure that you would have the right demand for that. And probably the most critical piece of that is how does it get financed? Is it something that is primarily taken by the developer? Is it something that the Robla Elementary School District as a whole looks at it? Is something the state builds? So from that standpoint, we're in very preliminary discussions. I would almost say like introductions at this point with that developer as they start to move forward with that project. They're estimating to finish their final map sometime the next 12 to 18 months. So it will be probably 2023 before we see any bulldozers out there moving dirt. But it's just something that I want to make the board aware of, and Superintendent Reyes asked me to share that that developer has given the district a phone call and have asked if, what are our preliminary thoughts regarding that site. And it just may be a nice reminder to the board that we have a site that's been identified up there for some time through that development. And it looks like that we'll see some movement at development in the near future, relatively speaking. With that, happy to answer any questions you may have this time. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody that was involved in getting students into those classrooms. I hope, I know that we broke into some people's Christmas vacations, and we're grateful for that. But very happy that for the most part, we were able to get everybody into their classrooms.
Thank you, Emilio. Is there any questions from the board? No, I have one comment. If we do the February 4th, that'll be the 50th anniversary of when I left the Air Force. And yes, they did have airplanes back that long ago. On that Panhandle site, I'm not sure, back in before the Great Recession, that was an issue. We were working with the developer who was Dunmore Homes, who was one of the first ones to go bankrupt. And I thought the district had some kind of agreement helping to finance that facility. You might want to look back in the history that it's going to help out or at all. I don't know, but
we didn't talk about that in our preliminary discussion today, that part of what we need to do is some research about what has happened. And so that's, as Mr. Flores said, we're beginning those discussions now.
All right. Well, thanks again. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so next is the annual review of policy 5116-1, the interdistrict open enrollment. Mr. Reyes, any comment?
Simply that we are, happy to entertain any questions from the board around this policy. We have not made any changes to the policy. It's simply a requirement that annually we review our interdistrict open enrollment policy. Things seem to be working fine under the current conditions. And so I'm happy to answer any questions that may have come up with any of the board members.
I'm just happy to see a nice, short, concise policy review compared to some of the others, like the one we have to vote on tonight. Any other questions? Okay. With that, Williams quarterly report.
Nothing to report.
Thank you so much. So that brings us to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion? But I'd like to break out the approval of the personnel report. We have so many new hires. I'd just like to acknowledge them on that. So if I have a motion to approve the minutes, the warrant reports, and the adoption of the revised policies of regulations and exhibits.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries 5-0. And with that, I would like to just open this up real quick. And I see there's so many new hires. I'd just like to go through the names to acknowledge them. Welcome to the room, Robla family, if you don't mind. The first one is just a promotion, not just a promotion, but a promotion. Simon Deo, the secretarial assistant at Taylor's School. And now we have a whole list of new hires. For a custodian, Roselia Lopez Davalos, and pardon me if I butcher the names, I'll try to go through here. We have a custodial, Cristobal Medina, library technician, Daisy Alcaraz, and all the rest are new intervention assistants hires that I will give in the list here. We have Michelle Mills, Alondro Martinez, Maimuna Arshad, Amisha Narayan. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Gustavo Lucia, Dawn Gagnon, Mariah Macias, and Geneva Henri LaPerot. Welcome to the Robla family. And also, since we're taking this up, we have a couple of retirements. Deborah Scott, teacher, third grade teacher, and Kelly Zeke, intervention specialist, is going to retire. So with that, do I have an motion?
President Boyd, I have a request, and I apologize for the inconvenience, but I have forgotten that I know one of the new hires, and so I would like to separate Don Gagnon for, and so I can abstain from that vote.
Okay, so could I have a motion for all the personnel on the list except for Dawn Gagnon? And we'll break that out separately.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries 5-0. And now to welcome Dawn Gagnon, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries 5-0.
No, one abstain.
Pardon me?
No, one abstention on that one.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 4. It's 4 with 1 abstention. Excuse me.
Thank you.
And again, welcome everybody. Bring us the action items. Approve the 2021 school accountability report cards.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Carries 5-0. Adopt the revised governance handbook. We had quite a bit of discussion in our workshop on it. Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And as I said, we did discuss this at length in our workshop. I think it was a very good workshop. Is there any further comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries 5-0. Approve the substitute services salary schedule effective January 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Reyes, do you have comment?
Yeah, I would simply say here that Mrs. Sullivan, in her review of our substitute pay, especially during the current conditions that you've heard a great deal about tonight in terms of coverage and the very difficult nature of trying to find a substitute teacher these days, it is in everyone's best interest to make sure that our pay is as competitive as can be. And it has been some time since we have made an adjustment to this. So we thought this was the right time to make this adjustment.
Is it officially competitive? Like it is? Okay, cool.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
Any other comments? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Carries 5-0. Approve Form J13A for October 25th, 2021 for Bell Avenue and Main Avenue schools.
So move.
Second.
And Mr. Reyes.
Actually, I'll let Mr. Castillo speak. This is around some flooding that we had and schools that we had to close. And Mr. Castillo, just want to say a little bit about what the J13 form is.
Yes, this form is a state form. Is pretty much is asking the state to waive 1 day or attendance for both Bell Avenue and Main Avenue. That was when there was like heavy rain, and we had to close at the last minute those two schools because they were flooding, including the restaurants. There was no space for the kids to walk. So we have a school in the rest of the schools except for Bell and Main on those two days. So it will waive we will not get penalized for losing the ADA on that day. So this is a form that the state requires a signature from every board member, and then it's sent out to the county office of education, who the superintendent approves, and then it's sent out to the state. It just process for emergencies due to weather. It is to know like the snow day rains for in places where it rains. That's another name for this form. Has been in place for many years.
Thank you. And I assume we all saw the note from Ms. Malspin that if we do approve this, we are going to have to sign this, so we can stop by the office as soon as possible to do so. I'm sorry, I think I interrupted somebody. Does somebody have a comment? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries 5-0. And with that, that concludes the agenda as presented. Do we have any board member requests for future agenda items? Ms. Devine?
Nothing at this time.
Ms. Cardona?
I don't have no request, but Ruben was saying that they have some short-handed in some areas. If you need me, I'm here. Okay. I cannot drive a bus, okay?
Mrs. Cardona, believe you me, your name has already come up.
Oh, okay, great.
I can help in the cafeteria.
All right. I appreciate.
I've been thinking the same thing. I really have.
Seriously, if you need, call.
And I have your phone numbers. All right.
I think you got a full board that's willing to pitch in wherever possible. Mr. Barnes.
No request. Well, actually, one slight request. This is for Superintendent Reyes. I may have missed this, but if there are any future vaccination drives, can you get us those dates so I can be sure to put it on my calendar and try to make it over and volunteer for that?
Yeah, absolutely. We will do that.
That's it for me.
All right, Mr. Deleuze.
No requests.
I have one regarding the pictures that we just had, the flooding there at Bell Avenue. If we could have a discussion, Bell is kind of my adopted school for all these years. And I know that flooding over there in the playground has been a real issue for some time. And Ms. Hall has made me aware of this several times too. And especially in this time of the pandemic, when it rains there, normally the kids aren't able to go out and play in that playground for days on end because of water accumulating out there. And it's really bad. I imagine it would be quite costly to come up with a solution to do something. But if we could talk about maybe doing something over there, I think this might be the time to do it.
What I will tell you, Mr. Boyd, is that we are already having some very important discussions about the condition of all of our playgrounds. That is something that has not been taken care of as much as we've been taking care of the buildings. And we know that it is high time to be looking at that, not only because of flooding, but because of other issues. So I assure you that Mr. Castillo and Mr. Flores and I have started those discussions, and I am sure that we will be bringing you some thoughts and ideas around that very soon.
Okay, then, yeah, so instead of a discussion, maybe when you find the time is correct, to maybe have a little report on that then.
Absolutely.
Okay, so periodic reports. All right, everybody, that should do it. I welcome you back to the first Zoom meeting of the year. Hope there's not too many to follow. And everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks,
Good night,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, Ruben, I know you're still there. So I just wanted to say sorry about complicating that last issue. I completely forgot about that.
Not at all.
Okay,
Oh, that's very conscientious of you, Mr. Barnes. Thank you. I appreciate it.
all right. Y'all take care and have a good one.
Okay, take care, Ken.
Mhm.
Bye. Thanks, Elliot. Thanks, Shari.